But wait, but all the stuff I just proved happened. That's all real. Truth is, I went into the Vista deck with Pierce. That's why my name doesn't appear on the hold entry record. I was badly injured from being stabbed, but I was frantic. By the time we reached the scene, it was all over. Lies. Oh, this doesn't help me one bit.
Mr. Sprocket, you've concealed information from us time and time again. Who do you think you are, treating this court of law with such irreverence? That being said, I do appreciate the testimony you gave just now. Thanks to you, we now know why your name doesn't appear on the entry record. Now there are no more inconsistencies in the witness's testimony.
Ugh. That's Mr. Edgeworth for you. He never leaves a loose end dangling. You okay, Nick? I don't exactly call the situation okay. Somehow I'll have to coax the information we need for an opening out of him. I even can, that is.
Hold it!
We can do this. You didn't mention this because you didn't want Mr. Nickety to fall under suspicion. Is that because he has something to hide? I just didn't want the police to take up his time with all their questions, that's all. The company or the household would function smoothly without him. You see? Wow, it sounds like Pierce is absolutely indispensable to the Sprockets. Anyway, getting back to your statement. When did you meet up with Mr. Nickety? We met up on my way to the Vista deck. I think Pierce and some of my relatives were on another floor. But Pierce had heard the commotion and came to running to my aid. I could hear the pandemonium all the way from another floor. Mr. Wright, would you like the current statement added to the witness's testimony? Sure. Yes, please, Your Honor. Very well.
Hold it!
Did Mr. Nickety come alone? Some of his subordinates were with him, but I don't remember exactly how many. He may say there were others, but seeing how they pulled that second reception off, I can't completely trust anything he has to say either. You see, so you, Mr. Nickety, and a few others headed to the Vista deck, is that right? That's right. Can I add that to the court record?
Hold it!
Very convenient. Your name doesn't appear on the hold entry record because you entered with Mr. Nickety using his keycard? Right. So I guess the hold entry record doesn't matter as much as we thought. But now that Soren's saying he was with Pierce and a few others, it's pretty tough to refute that statement.
What's the matter, Mr. Wright? Can't got your tongue? Did you finally realize there's no point in continuing this trial any longer?
Of course not. Ugh. Get that smug look off your face. Mr. Sprocket, please continue with your testimony.
Hold it!
Speaking of your injury, how are you doing now? My wound is deep and continues to throb with pain. Fortunately, my internal organs were spared. But one wrong move could have spelled the end for me there. Even so, I've seen you up and about all over the place since the incident. I'm following my doctor's orders to perform some daily light exercises. Mr. Wright, would you like Mr. Sprocket's statement about his condition added to his testimony? None that appears especially relevant to me. Should I have him do it? Yes, Your Honor. I'd like to have it added to his testimony. I see. Very well. Wait, what? What? The knife wound is quite deep and continues to throb with pain. Your injury was really that deep. Luckily, it missed my internal organs, otherwise I wouldn't be alive right now.
According to his doctor, his injury will take about 3 weeks to heal. There's no way someone with that kind of injury could have gone along the outside wall.
But he might have been able to with the burst of adrenaline brought on by the pain.
Adrenaline. Is that your answer for everything? In the court of law, the only thing that matters is evidence, not rampant speculation.
At least admit scientific rampant speculation. Yeah, continue. Yes, of course. Yeah, hold on, I want to go back. Because we know that was it. It wasn't a knife.
Objection!
Mr. Sprocket, you just said your injury is a knife wound, didn't you? But the weapon you were stabbed with was this candelabra. A fact I know you're quite aware of. What? Very well. This is what I heard directly from Master Soren himself. As you surmise, Master Soren was stabbed by Gloomsbury on the day of the murder. It happened after the first wedding reception. The happy couple was in the reception hall when suddenly Gloomsbury appeared. He attacked Miss Ellen and tried to take her away. Mr. Soren went to stop him and found himself in a struggle with Gloomsbury. As when Master Soren was stabbed with the candelabra, he said, "Okay. What does that mean?"
Objection!
It must have been a simple memory slip that made him misspeak. It happens to everyone. It was nothing to do with the case.
No.
You must be pretty desperate to point out something so minute.
No. What he got stabbed with is relevant.
I have to agree, Mr. Wright. You hardly need to make such a big deal over such a small mistake.
But I contend that it's an important inconsistency. Besides, I couldn't find anything else. This is the only thing I have to go after.
No, I say it's not important. Now let's not waste any more time on this matter. I agree. Everybody has little memory lapse every now and then.
Hold it!
But Your Honor, please let me explain.
But can you really explain to this court what makes this slip so important?
Yes, I can, Your Honor. After all, it was Soren himself who told Pierce that he'd been stabbed by a candelabra. This is more than a simple memory slip. There has to be some kind of reason for it.
Well, Mr. Wright, please explain why the witness's slip of the tongue is so important.
The point to focus on here is why the witness would mistake the weapon used to stab him. Think carefully, Phoenix. This could very well change the course of the trial.
I see. So why did the witness make that mistake, Mr. Wright?
Mr. Sprocket identified the wrong weapon used against him because he misspoke. He's covering for someone else. He has no memory of... Oh! Alright, hear me out. So he's in that crash. And after that crash, he wrote everything down in super detail. He doesn't remember things. He didn't remember the incident, let alone the weapon used against him. Not only that, but I believe Mr. Sprocket has some sort of memory disorder. Therefore, the defense contends that Mr. Sprocket's testimony thus far is invalid.
And just because you can't find a flaw in his testimony, you want to throw it all out? Your baseless claim is nothing but pure slander of the witness's character.
Not a character thing.
Mr. Edgeworth is correct, Mr. Wright. Can you explain your grounds for making this claim?
Of course, Your Honor. Think of what Soren has said, how he's behaved. That's where I'll find a clue.
Very well, let's hear your argument then.
My grounds for claiming that Mr. Sprocket has memory disorder is... his notebook. The notebook he always has with him. I saw daily events and information about the people around him recorded in it.
Like a diary, perhaps?
No, Your Honor. It's much too detailed to be an ordinary diary. It's more on the order of a database, actually.
A database, you say?
That's right. For some reason, Mr. Sprocket is apparently unable to retain memories. That's why he writes every little detail of his life down in his notebook.
How could you possibly know that for sure? He might just be an extremely compulsive person.
I thought so too myself at first. To be honest, we accidentally got a stain on that notebook yesterday. You mean you got a stain on it? Oh, those 2 pages! Hey, you're the one who tried to grab it out of my...
Objection!
Never mind whose fault it was, just get to the point already.
Right, sorry. Mr. Sprocket. The page Miss Faye got a stain on yesterday, that's the page with the details of your stabbing on it, isn't it? No, I only write in this notebook because I'm very compulsive. Drop the subject already. He can't have it revealed that he doesn't remember things. Sorry, but I'm not convinced. I noticed an odd fact about your notebook, Mr. Sprocket. On the earlier pages, you used it to write down invention ideas, but after a certain date, you started writing down a lot more and in much more detail. I believe your memory disorder stems from what happened on that date.
Something so monumental that it caused a memory disorder, Mr. Wright.
You know what you're talking about? Sorry, but I do know what I'm talking about, and this is the proof. This is the thing that caused Mr. Sprocket's memory disorder. Bam.
Take that!
You were involved in this car accident too, weren't you, Mr. Sprocket? And the shock of losing your beloved older sister is what caused you to develop your memory disorder.
This is true, Mr. Sprocket. Well, is it?
Mr. Sprocket. It's true. That accident did something to my mind.
What?
Ever since that day, every time I go to sleep, I lose my memories. And when I wake up, the most recent thing I can remember is the day I lost my sister. It's as if I'm constantly going back in time.
What? That's truly tragic. An inconsolable time traveler who goes back in time whenever he goes to sleep.
Time travelers do exist, you know, but you wouldn't understand. So that's what Soren meant. He was talking about himself. Actions of the people around me each time I woke made me aware of my condition. So I decided to write everything down in my notebook so I could move forward. So the only memories you have since that day are the ones written in that notebook. Right? Since the page about your stabbing got stained, you couldn't read from it, could you? There's just one more thing I'd like you to clarify for me, Mr. Sprocket. Exactly what are your feelings toward the victim?
Mr. Sprocket's feelings towards Miss Bloomsbury.
That's right, Your Honor. The witness said that every time he wakes up from sleep, his mind goes back to the day his sister died.
Mr. Wright, you can't mean.
Mr. Sprocket. Your pent-up feelings of anger and resentment towards Mr. Gloomsbury for the accident were renewed each and every time you woke, were they not? But you couldn't take it anymore, so you turned to murder. Isn't that right?
What, Mr. Wright, are you saying the witness murdered Mr. Gloomsbury for revenge?
Well, Mr. Sprocket. He couldn't. Well, I guess I was like, how could he plan that, though? Miss Wyatt. Your Honor, I did it. I killed Mr. Gloomsbury. No!
What?
Miss Wyatt, what are you trying to do? Going that route. Soren is innocent. He can't be found guilty. Take me instead. Yeah, try to get a hold of yourself. I guess she really meant it. Soren didn't do anything wrong. I'm the one who should be convicted.
Are we to understand that you're confessing your guilt?
No, no, no! Now wait just a minute here. Ellen, why would you cover for me? After I testified that I thought you must have killed him. I'll admit, I couldn't believe my ears at first, but all I want is for you to be happy. Your happiness is my happiness, Soren. Without my notebook, I'd even forget these feelings of yours by tomorrow. Knowing that, do you still feel this way? Loved me all this time. Same way you did before the accident. That's how I know. But you're the same person I've always loved. No disorder can change that. Ellen. Your Honor, there are two things I'd like to correct.
Two corrections? What are they?
First of all, I want to withdraw one of my statements. This was killed by Ellen. Alright. That memories to rely on. I took the police completely at their word.
You can't be serious.
So that means Soren never really doubted Ellen in the first place, did he, Nick? Ellen really does love Soren with all her heart, but in order to save her, I'll still have to go after Soren. I hope you can forgive me, Ellen.
What is your other correction, Mr. Sprocket?
Truth is, I never felt anger or resentment towards Dumas about my sister. What? Why not? Because the one who caused the car accident was me. Okay. This is starting to make more sense. That's why Dumas attacked him. What?
Order in the court. Please continue, Mr. Sprocket.
I'm the one who killed my sister. To protect my career and my future, my father made Dumas take the blame. In exchange for money and the position of lead servant. So that's why he got to stay on. Soren was the one driving. So you see, Dumas must have held a grudge against me, not the other way around. And he must have attacked Ellen to get his revenge on me. Are you sure about all of this, Mr. Sprocket? Very sure. It's all been written down in detail in my notebook.
The notebook is important evidence supplying background to this case. I must insist you submit it as evidence.
So his notebook added to the court record, a database-like notebook that chronicles the events of each day in minute details. The lawyer said I had turned to murder, but that's just not true. However, it is true that my older sister and Dumas are both dead because of me and my negligence.
I just glanced through Mr. Sprocket's notebook. I wasn't able to read the part about when he was stabbed due to the blood stain. But what's written here about his sister's car accident is exactly as he stated.
Your Honor, as long as it matches what's written in that notebook. Can we still take the witness's testimony as valid in spite of his memory disorder?
Yes, I believe we can.
I understand now the witness's memory is in disarray. But if what Mr. Sprocket himself wrote in this notebook is true, that means by the time Mr. Sprocket's party reached the scene, the victim had already been killed.
Edgeworth's right. I'm still in the same bind as before. Should I really simply accept the contents of this notebook as substitutes for Soren's memory? Nope.
Well, Mr. Wright, what do you think? Do you accept Mr. Sprocket's notebook as official representation of his memories?
Well, accept Mr. Sprocket's notebook as an official representation of his memories. Nope. Wait a minute, Your Honor. The defense requests a chance to examine the notebook to see if it's trustworthy.
Very well, but be quick about it.
Thank you, Your Honor. So how should we examine it? Well, we should look at it from all different angles to see if there's anything suspicious. Oh, crap. Well, that's helpful. Guess we'll take a look at it. There's no point if I don't take a look at what's inside. I have to open it. With your permission, Soren. Here I go. Alright, blitzing. Yikes! Oh, it's just the page Maya got all stained. But I guess it's not going to be very helpful at this moment. I'll keep going. Ooh. This is the last page where there's writing. Something about this page doesn't sit right with me. Better take a closer look. Oh my god. That? Huh? A page has been torn out, and it looks like there was something written on it. Looks like a page has been torn out here. Wait, don't we have a... I don't think that's it. Maybe? What was the other piece of paper we had? That was it. Alright. Mr. Sprocket, do you know what was written on it? No, he wouldn't. Oh, that. I often tear out a page when I write somebody a note. Probably wrote something down for somebody, tore it out, and gave it to them. He does that. Oh, yeah.
That's all that then. Objection!
Wait a minute. We can't ignore the possibility that something important was written on that page.
But now that the page has been torn out, how can we determine what was written there?
Well, let's see. To find out what was written in the notebook, we should... Oh. If we use fingerprint powder on the notebook, we might be able to see what was written.
Fingerprint powder? How would that help us find out what was written there?
Well, if the writing left indentations on the blank page behind it, fingerprint powder could make those small indentations visible to the naked eye.
No, stop. Fingerprint powder would only sully the notebook further.
Mr. Wright, if you use the powder and still don't find anything, then you must accept the notebook as a representation of the witness's memories.
Alright, Your Honor. I understand. If I don't find anything, it's all over anyway. Powder, don't fail me now. I'll now use the fingerprint powder on the blank page to find out if we can see what was written on the torn out pages. This was not the way I was expecting to use that. First, I'll apply some fingerprint powder to these pages with A. When I've dusted enough powder, I'll use blow, X, to blow the excess powder away. Something should appear. I should switch to analyze mode, L. Point to what came up, then confirm my choice. Oh, shoot, there's more. Oh, shoot. Whoops. Oh. Really nothing here? It says, I struck and killed Dumas. This is huge. I struck and killed Dumas. That's what was written on the torn out page.
Ooh, what?
You can't be.
I don't believe it. There must be some kind of mistake. Soren would never, could never. Oh dear. Miss Wyatt.
Bailiff, please get the defendant to the infirmary at once. Apparently the defendant got too worked up. She's resting in the infirmary as we speak. Now then, please continue, Mr. Wright.
Yes, Your Honor. This notebook is all Mr. Sprocket has to remember things by. With this critical page torn out, not even Mr. Sprocket himself knew the truth of what he'd done. Oh, the whole family was gonna hide it. And Larry blew it up. Oh, Larry. Well, I mean, I guess it's good that it's, you know, the crime has come to light and not going to be covered up, but Larry's the reason Ellen is in this situation. I'm the one who killed Dumas. So it wasn't Ellen. Oh, thank goodness. Mr. Sprocket, does this mean you were at the crime scene during the murder after all? Yes, I must have been. Huh. But Mr. Sprocket, can we really believe what's written in this notebook? Nobody touches this notebook but me, and when I sleep, it's under lock and key. don't remember writing that I killed Dumas, but I guess I must have.
Well, now that we have a confession, I'm afraid I must render my verdict.
Navala.
Yes, Your Honor. Please give your ruling now, while Ellen is asleep. I want the woman I love to be set free as soon as possible. Soren really does love Ellen after all, doesn't he? Yeah. But this is how it ends. But is that how it really went down? Is there really no way for both of them to be happy?
I know you should consider anything written in the notebook to be the truth, but still.
Myself wrote of the crime in my notebook. No further proof is necessary. Soren himself wrote it in his notebook? Wait a minute.
Very well. I will now give my verdict.
Williams must be found not guilty, and Soren will be convicted for the crime instead. And yet, am I really ready for the judge to give his ruling? No. No, not when there's still one more avenue left to explore.
This court finds the defendant Ellen Wyatt.
Ah, crap. Your Honor, there's still something that bothers me about that notebook.
No, is there?
What are you doing, Mr. Wright? All you have to do is keep quiet, and your client's a free woman.
I know, but I think there might be more to this case than meets the eye. I'm not quite sure yet, but I think there still might be a way for Ellen and Soren to be happy.
What do you mean by more than meets the eye, Mr. Wright?
I believe the question here, Your Honor, should be, why was the incriminating page torn out in the first place?
Why to destroy the evidence, I would imagine.
But removing it from the notebook is the same as removing it from Mr. Sprocket's memory, which means he wouldn't have been able to trick the police if he came under suspicion. No, if he wanted to cover up his crime, he would have to remember that he had done it.
Just what are you getting at with this line of inquiry, Mr. Wright?
Yes, please explain it so we can all understand.
Yes, Your Honor. The page was torn out of the notebook because somebody else tore it out. The incriminating page was torn out by somebody else.
What? Order! Are you claiming the third person interfered with the notebook?
It's not all that surprising if you consider what's happened up until now. After both the car accident and the murder of Dumas Gloomsbury, there's always a cover-up not far behind. But I had my notebook with me at all times. Did you? Because I remember you were in a panic yesterday because you couldn't find it. That's true.
So who orchestrated this particular cover-up, Mr. Wright?
If we think back over the course of the trial, it's pretty easy to guess. Yeah. The one who may have tried to tamper with Soren's memories is Persnickety. The one who tampered with the notebook in order to manipulate Mr. Sprocket's memory is Persnickety. Pierce tried to tamper with my memories? Pierce was manipulating me. Case in point, the two receptions that were held to cover up the murder. It was Mr. Nickety who directed the guests and orchestrated the entire scheme. No, it can't be. Which memories are mine and which have been rewritten? When did he start rewriting my memories? Who wrote this? And this? And this? And this? And this? And this? And this? Oh boy. Whoa, is he about to blast off? A Team Rocket joke in there somewhere. He literally took off.
Ugh.
What?
Look, Nick, he's coming back down. Memories. Helen. Oh, are they both on the floor? Oh, she's in the infirmary. Mr. Sprocket.
Bailiff, please get Mrs. Sprocket to the infirmary on the double. Mr. Sprocket has been taken to the infirmary. Well, we don't have to worry about him running away, so let us resume where we left off.
Your Honor, the defense would like to call Persnickety to the stand.
We already know he carried out the cover-up to protect the company of Mr. Sprocket. What more do you want from him?
This time it's different. The notebook, or rather Mr. Sprocket's memories, have been tampered with. That means the only person who knows the whole truth is now Mr. Nickety.
Don't tell me, are you actually trying to drum up a third suspect in order to exonerate the defendant and her groom?
I'm not drumming up anything, nor do I have grounds to accuse him of anything yet. All I know is that Mr. Nickety is the only one who knows the truth, and I think he's still hiding something. Something we don't know about yet.
No grounds yet, is it?
Well, Mr. Edgeworth, does the prosecution consent to calling the witness to the stand?
It does, Your Honor. However, I would like a little time to talk with the witness before we do.
Very well, we will break for a 20-minute recess.
To be continued. All right. I'm going to stop recording here for now. I don't know. I don't know how much more is left or how exactly I'm going to chop these up or release them. So I don't know. I'll figure something out. But I also want to get to recording a little bit of Edgeworth today. So hopefully if that's gone up already, you're enjoying that. And we will pick up this trial in the next one. As always, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.